Activists and independent journalists warn that the ban will also likely affect Russian opposition figures who want to leave the country amid a wartime crackdown on dissenting voices. This case not the most difficult because the woman was conscious and her relative with her, Mikhail Voitenko said in a phone interview. But we encounter situations where a person has to travel alone and is unaccompanied on the other side of the border. It is not yet known how many people will be affected by the ban. Mikhail Voitenko said her team working with Ukrainian refugees receives up to 4 requests for help from people with disabilities each week. According to Mikhail Voitenko, Estonian border officials told ambulance driver carrying the woman that vehicle would be confiscated if it crossed into Estonia. According to BBC's Russia service, which first reported incident, woman's son had to push his mother's wheelchair a mile and a half on foot after passing Russian checkpoint. Russian priest Grigory Mikhail Voitenko, a rights activist helping Ukrainian refugees, told the Moscow Times Russian activists helping Ukrainian refugees warn that the vehicle ban will significantly hinder the evacuation from Russia of seriously ill and disabled people, many of whom need special assistance. Travel options from Russia to Europe were already significantly limited by reciprocal airspace bans and visa restrictions on Russian citizens after Moscow sent troops to Ukraine last February. Finland, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania and Poland have imposed bans on passenger vehicles with Russian license plates in recent days, amid intense debate over the implementation of an EU directive on import restrictions in connection with the brutal war in Ukraine. A ban on Russian-registered vehicles by Moscow's neighbors in the European Union looks set to harm not only ordinary Russians but also political dissidents and Ukrainian refugees fleeing Russia. Jailed Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny's team has called on Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania to reconsider measure, arguing that it negatively affects anti-war Russians and fuels the Kremlin's narrative about anti-Russian sentiment in West. Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation said ban contradicts normative provisions, leads to absurd legal conflicts, harms opponents of the Putin regime who were forced to leave Russia, and provides Russian officials with arguments for propaganda machine. In a letter to the 3 Baltic states last week, Anastasia Burakova, a Russian lawyer and president of Kovcheg, an international group supporting Russian immigrants and anti-war activists, called the restrictions quite strange, given that those countries have already banned entry to Russians on EU tourist visas. The Baltic states, in particular, know very well that entry there is only possible for relatives of EU citizens or people with a humanitarian visa or residence permit that allows them to live in the country. He said, although entry bans were issued